The yellow mouth of the school bus opened to eat him, and he slumped into the fractured plastic of a seat, knowing at the next stop the boy with the fingers chopped off at the knuckles would climb into the bus like a panther among squirrels, take the seat behind him, and grind the whitened stubs into the back of his head while he flinched. What combination of starry omens and planetary dread, of boxcars and snake eyes, could have spun the world into this child's heart to such daily vicious thrill at the despair of other children, the ones with perfect hands? At lunch, huddled with friends by the mahogany-stained fold-up bleachers in the gym, he tried to ask them, but they studied dented apples and plastic-wrapped sandwiches in wincing silence. In their minds, the awful hand was reaching over the ruptured and taped upholstery again and scraping like a bone bow across the resisting bodies, grating out the thin music of their screams. These beautiful little boys and girls who flinched away from the stumps of his loss. They also had suffered the knuckle torture, also had avoided the bus home, preferring to stumble through the cut black stubble of the cornfields and be late for dinner, but they could say nothing. He was a fact of life, like brain-eating bacteria. So the boy came up with his own scenarios for what violence had severed that hand. A bad cut on his table saw that spritzed the saw blood red. Freak guillotining by falling glass. Psycho stepfather with a hatchet. And often he wondered, what did they do with the severed digits? Did they keep them strangely preserved in formaldehyde, floating and pointing everywhere and nowhere in the green liquid of a screw-top jar? Or did they bury them in a small box out in a field somewhere, or in the backyard by the oak tree, like a time capsule floating in earth through decades in which that sad and terrible boy was fated to be the asshole of every story? A tiny coffin in a makeshift graveyard where those fingers wait for the rest of him to join them. Those pallid fetuses, those curling orchids, those question marks, the pale nails growing into hooks. That is Bad Hand by Tony Barnstone, which, that was a powerful one as soon as I found it. And I thought it might be pretty fitting for who our friend Micah is now facing off against. After one of the CyberDoc assistants came and got Micah's latest acquisition into his court, our good friend Yins, to try to repair whatever may remain of his arm, Micah made his way trying to find a little bit more truth into this great mystery of his life. And so he confronted his sister, Amadee. And as they sparred, bandied wits a little bit, the obvious answer that kept coming forward, at least whenever he would ask her, is there anything that you need to tell me effectively? And she started deflecting. He knew something was wrong. He knew he wasn't going to get the truth out of her. And more this drove him to push her away as she pushed him away. And eventually they left on not so great terms. And as Micah was turning away to go find another avenue, some other way, maybe even just to blow off some steam, who should be walking in the door but the one with not just severed hands, but a severed everything? Bad Boy Bobby, his bodyguard, this combat cyborg who has apparently taken care of them, but is right now at the forefront of Micah's suspicions as to what's going on in the bizarre past week. And so, we are coming back in to our scene as they face each other down. Oops. And so, as I throw my papers everywhere, one moment. Okay. We are starting off at a chaos factor of 6, which apparently would explain why I opened the folder upside down just to throw the papers directly on the floor. You know, that's what chaos factors mean. So, we're going to roll for the chaos factor, and let's see where we are at. A 1. Alright, so we are at odds, which means it is an altered scene, not an interrupt. So, I suspect as they're walking in, Micah sees Bobby approaching him. And there's a tense moment where Micah begins to wonder, do I need to Do I need to worry about him trying to kill me? And he realizes, of course, that his sister is just not even a full room away. There are... here's the alteration. He knows that no matter what, he can't get into direct conflict, both against and with Bobby. But there's no doubt that Bobby locks eyes with him and starts to approach. So Micah, watching cautiously, realizes, I have to play this smart. I can't risk him. He is very powerful. A combat cyborg like that could easily take down this entire room, not even break a sweat. Okay, but I need some answers. I need some truths. As Micah approaches, he sees him, nods his head slightly. Okay, Bobby. Hey, how are you doing after that big fight? It was Amadi who found me. I wanted to make sure that you're not holding any grudges or any frustrations. So I'm going to roll on conversation tables for Bobby. So let's get our lucky D100s. And now 54, which is Inquire. And 50, Hopeless. Inquire Hopeless. I'm going to ask a question here. Does this mean that... Inquire Hopeless. Is Bobby about to try to... Is Bobby trying to find out what does Micah know? I'm going to say this is... it's 50-50, so it's 65 or below. 51. Yeah, so Bobby kind of approaches. His helmet is open. The organics of his face are exposed and right there in front of him. And Bobby just kind of looks him up and down. He goes, well, I wanted to make sure that you were okay there, son. You know, you two jumped off, started fighting. I figured, kid's gonna blow off some steam, right? But then your sister came back, and you didn't. What happened? Where'd you go? I heard that they rescued you from some broadkill, soup kitchen that they were trying to set up, where you would be the soup. But, kid, that's something else happened, didn't it? So, I'm going to treat this like a social combat. So let me get out a piece of paper here. Now, of course, here's the ultimate truth, right? We don't know for certain if Bobby is actually kind of the one behind it or involved in any of the conspiracies. Right now, what we know is that Micah suspects that he is. Now, that doesn't mean anything, right? If there's no truth to it. So, we are going to go a little bit into a social conflict here. So, we're going to deal... Now, I don't believe combat cyborgs get any special social bonuses, but I'm going to have to pull up their stats here, aren't I? So, let's see. And then I'm going to shuffle out some initiative cards, and we're going to go into, like I said, social combat. Cyborgs. Page 60. Okay, persuasion of a D6, so this may be a little bit of a one-sided fight, but you know what? Not everything has to be a super-duper challenge. And I say that, and watch, Micah's going to get his ass kicked. He's going to start a fight. He's going to get butchered right here. Because that is sometimes how the dice determines. Okay. Damn, why did I lose the page? There it is. Okay. Alright, so we're going to ask... Oops. We're going to ask a fake question. Is Bobby formidable in comparison to Micah? I'm going to say 50-50. 57, so yes. Does that mean that Bobby is a wild card too? 80. So no, he's not a wild card. That is very good in Micah's favor, because that means he doesn't get bennies, and he doesn't get a wild die. But what he does have... Okay. Overconfident, stubborn, greedy. Nope. So Micah draws the 6, and Bobby draws the jack. As Bobby kind of scores up on him. He looks him over. He goes, something's a little wrong, isn't it, kid? It's, I hope me asking these questions isn't too much for you. So I'm going to give him a intimidation roll. That's a 3. So, intimidation. Let's give Micah a spirit check to counter. 5 and a 2, even with his point of exhaustion. He's like, no, Bobby, I'm not worried about that. You can ask your questions, of course. I understand you probably have quite a few. But I have a couple myself, if you don't mind. Bobby, when we jumped over the edge, my assumption would have been you would have followed. Where were you? So I'm going to give Micah a persuasion roll. So 1 and a 4 minus 1. I'm going to spend a penny. 6 blows up. It's an 8 minus 1, so it's not with a raise. Bobby's spirit is a d6. It's a 4. All right, so Micah gets 1 point here. Bobby just kind of looks at him and goes, No. It wasn't like that, son. No, what was he doing? Let's find out. So we are going to conversations, descriptors. No, I don't want any of those. I want actions. Let's do actions combat to see what Bobby was doing, or what he at least says he was doing. 49 harm, 84 harm spy. Okay. He goes, kid, you don't just jump into a fight like that, do you? No, you keep an eye out. You see what's going on. You watch for any kind of recon. You watch for any returns. You watch for scouts. Maybe what I spotted was a spy in our group. And Micah raises an eyebrow, because remember, he won that exchange, so Micah gets a truth out of this. And he kind of looks at me and goes, Bobby, we have special spy masters and taskmasters for that sort of thing. We have counter intel. Why did you think somebody was willing to betray us? So we will go into the next round. 7 and an 8, so Micah gets the 7. And Bobby gets the 9, so Bobby's going to go first again. He recoils a little bit and goes, kid, I see spies everywhere. So I'm going to try to give him another intimidation roll, a d8. Actually, let me roll. I'm going to roll on his actions, or at least conversations, to see if we can interpret this. 25, creepy, and 16, creepy careful. Yeah, I'm going to call that intimidation. Bobby rolls a 5. So Micah here. Okay, the 8 blows up. All right, Micah resists it. You see spies everywhere, you say. Okay. So, if you see spies everywhere, why would you feel the need as combat was beginning to go look for them? Why haven't you been looking for them before? I'm going to give him a battle roll on this one as a way to challenge. 1 and a 4 minus 1. No, you're going to burn through all your bennies, man. A 4 and a 4. Got one more benny left. I'm going to leave that as is. This is a smarts roll, which Bobby's got a D6. He's just got to beat a 3. And it blows up. So Bobby resists at 2. He goes, son, do you really think a spy is going to reveal themselves until the fight begins? Distractionary tactics. I thought I trained you better than this. So nobody got the upper hand there. So, oh, fortunately, Micah just got the Joker, which is great because he's going to get a +2. He got his Benny, and Bobby rolled the ace. So Micah watches him for a second, and he just kind of looks at him. And just as Bobby's about to open his mouth, he raises one finger and goes, Bobby, did you in fact not actually swear on your life, your hope and salvation, and your chance for rebirth to defend us? I remember that. I remember you coming to my bedroom as a boy and explaining how different firearms work. I remember you explaining the difficulties of repairing field armor and the necessity to do it out in the field. I remember you saying that the most important armament that a person can have is a trusted soldier by their side. Where were you during the fight? So I'm going to give him, let's be persuasion. I'm going to give him the +2 from having the Joker here. A 2 and a 1. Oh, shit. Okay, there goes that Benny right away. All right, the 6 blows up. Okay, so it's technically only a +1, but that makes it an 8 total. And Bobby's got to resist this with his spirit. Which is a D6. It's a 2. So, I'm going to say he, based on that, that's 3 successes. So Bobby kind of stutters a little bit. He goes, oh, son. No, look, it's not like that. Well, yeah. Things get scurry. Things go weird out in the battlefield. People start acting strange. Sometimes there's ghosts where we don't see it, but... Oh, son, kid. You remember that time you fell into that pit? And you were so sure that you were just going to keep falling forever. And we found the wormy that built that particular pit. One that you fell down. Oh, I fought for days to get you back. You hid in the shadows, and I had to keep going down there day after day looking for you. When we finally found you, you were huddled up, covered in blood. You had fought off a couple of the grubs, just smashing them with rocks. Ah, kid, I'd never been more proud of you. You fought. You fought for survival. You fought for what was right. You fought just to keep your ass going. Shit's getting weak. So I'm going to take it. So I'm going to effectively say we are going to roll on the plot twist here. What exactly was Bobby doing? 57 necessary. 31 necessary friend. Oh, okay. I'm going to call this one very unlikely, which is a 35 and below. Is Bobby not betraying Amadi and Micah? Is Bobby betraying their father? Shit. That was a 6. So on a very unlikely, he just got an exceptional yes. Bobby stops and he's like, kid, fuck, I shouldn't even be calling you kid anymore, man. Boy, son, Lord Micah, things have changed. Your father's showing weakness. He's showing fear. He needs something to put pressure on him. He can't keep doing what he's doing. He keeps trying to like wheel and deal like the Extixic or the Federation or the Coalition are going to give a rat's fuck about treaties. You know what the Coalition does with treaties? They're not even paper shields. They're the shields that they paint your face on so they can practice firing directly between the eyes. Coalition's not going to give two rats shit about us. They're going to burn you, your sister, all your siblings. Ash, I've seen it. Federation ain't no fucking better. They come through, but at least they show strength. Son, I didn't jump down there because I knew that you were going to be captured and be fine. They were under very strict orders that I was given inspections to. I was told specifically that you would be held until your father saw the danger and then fucking stepped up, sacked up. I needed him to sack up. And here you are. See? Stronger as ever. Look at you, boy. You even brought back somebody. They didn't abuse you. You ain't dead. But something's gone wrong. And Micah leans forward and goes, what you're talking about, Bobby? You committed treason. My father, whether you like him or not, is still your rightful ruler. And what you did, you put me in harm's way. You put this entire kingdom in harm's way. People died. Boy, they were going to die anyway. Don't you see it? Writ large up on the sky. Every time one of those rifts open, every time some troopers come through, some mercenaries will get hired, every time that a fucking agreement gets signed, people die. The only difference between wartime and peacetime is where they bury the bodies. Shit. Figured you out of anyone, you and your sister, learning these abilities, being able to take your own in a fight. You'd understand that, and you'd respect strength. Micah looks at him and goes, Bobby, that's not strength. That sounds like capitulation and fear. Strength would have been coming and talking to us. Kid, there is more shit in this world than you don't even know. Bobby, who did this? Who signed you up? Who turned you that you would turn against your father, the rightful heir? Let's see. Let's roll. Let's do character actions here. 51. Imprison. 98. Imprison wild. Imprison wild. That sounds... That sounds like somebody who has a lot of strength on keeping the Broadkill controlled at bay, but being able to let them off leash too. Who the fuck would have... Okay. Who would have that kind of strength? I'm going to roll for another plot twist because I like that idea. Obviously, it's not the Broadkill who are the great controllers of this. Somebody else is controlling the Broadkill, and the Broadkill only exists to kill. 43. It's incapacitate. 31. Friend. Incapacitate friend. Okay. Fake question time. Where's my chart? I'm going to say this. This is 50-50. It's the Federation of Magic behind this. 66. That is 1 point over no. But let me check something. Does that mean that we're about to have a random encounter? I think so. Because I think it's... If it's at or below. Within chaos factor... 66 is doubles, and that is exactly in. Oh, yes. Yes, it is. We're going to a random encounter. Okay. Let's roll some descriptions, and we will get what this random encounter is. Okay. We're going to do meanings tables for actions. Action 1 is 48 harm and 63 harm official. Okay. Ooh, okay. I'm going to call this one very unlikely. Is there an assassination attempt against Amadi right here? 25. Shit. Ooh, shit. Okay. All right. Who does this? Damn. No, I'm nervous. Okay. Let's do quick alien species descriptors. 21. Desperate. 19. Desperate declining. It's a band of suicide broadkill. They, okay. Is it a band of suicidal broadkill? 1. Exceptional, yes. So I'm going to actually say that is going to triple the numbers. Okay, so we're going to roll 2d8. That is 7 plus 5 is 12 broadkill. There are screams. Let's see. Let's see. There is a sudden burst of panic and screams. The voices begin to echo up the hallway from where Bobby and Micah are talking. And from there, somebody just starts barking out some orders. But the voice that comes through, of course, is not human.
Oh, there's the bitch. Bring her in. Split her skin from her bones.
And let's see, it's 12 broadkill. All right. So here's my last fate question for tonight. This is very likely, given the fact that they're in the room. Is Bobby unarmed? 52. Bobby has no weapons on him. So, as the fighting commences, there is screams as those in wait suddenly begin getting chopped down. There is the visceral sound of people dying. And then suddenly, somebody goes, "Oh, they've got